What we're going to have now is the reading of Psalm 104, which will be appearing with some pictures on the screen, and Cara and Sarah are going to read that to us.
So this is reading Psalm 104, verses 1 to 31, and it's from the Message version of the Bible. O my soul, bless God. God, my God, how great you are, beautifully glorious robed, dressed up in sunshine, and all heaven stretched out for your tent.
You built your palace on the ocean deep, and made a chariot out of clouds, and took off the wind wings.
You commandeered winds as messengers, appointed fire and flames as ambassadors. You set earth on a firm foundation, so that nothing can shake it ever.
You blanketed earth with ocean, covered the mountains with deep waters. Then you roared, and the water ran away. Your thunder crash put it to flight.
Mountains pushed up, valleys spread out in the places you assigned them. You set boundaries between earth and sea. Never again will earth be flooded.
You started the springs and rivers, sent them flowing among the hills. All the wild animals now drink their fill. Wild donkeys quench their thirst.
Along the riverbanks the birds build nests, ravens make their voices heard.
You water the mountains from your heavenly cisterns. Earth is supplied with plenty of water. You make grass grow for the livestock, hay for the animals that plough the ground.
Oh yes, God bring grains from the land, wine to make people happy, their faces glowing with health, a people well fed and hearty.
God's trees are well watered, the Lebanon cedars he planted.
Birds build their nests in those trees, look, the stork at home in the treetop.
Mountain goats climb about the cliffs, badgers burrow among the rocks.
The moon keeps track of the seasons, the sun is in charge of each day. When it's dark and night takes over, all the forest creatures come out.
The young lions roar for their prey, clamouring to God for their supper. When the sun comes up, they vanish, lazily stretched out in their dens.
Meanwhile, men and women go out to work, busy at their jobs until evening.
Oh look, the deep wide sea brimming with fish past counting, sardines and sharks and salmon. Ships plough those waters, and the Leviathan, your pet dragon, romps in them.
All the creatures looked expectantly to you to give them their meals on time. You come and they gather around. You open your hand and they eat from you.
If you turned your back, they'd die in a minute. Take your spirit and they die, revert to original mud.
Send out your spirit and they spring to life, the whole countryside in bloom and blossom.
The glory of God, let it last forever. Let God enjoy his creation.
Right, it's time for a story. So I'm going to need some helpers again. So if you'd like to come forward, that would be brilliant. Thank you. Right, I need you to get into 4 groups. Okay, so can we have one? Well, let's have one group over here. So maybe about 3 of you, say. So do you 3 want to be? And then Edward, do you want to come over here? You can be in the next group. And do you want to be in? So if you want to be in the second group, and then Jemima and you 2, if you come in the 3rd group, and then we're going to need a 4th group over here. So we'll need some more people. Brilliant. So we've got 1 group, 2 groups, 3 groups. Then we need a 4th group here. I'm very happy for big people to come out too. That's fine. It doesn't matter how many are in each group, actually. Oh, here we are. Got a couple more people. Now we've lost someone again, so we'll need a couple more people to come. Come on, Joe. And then I'm going to need a big person to come and stand up here. Oh, Gemma, are you coming? You haven't got to do very much, so it's fine. So this is a little story. Okay. So there is a wonderful land of grass. Now the first group You're the grass. So what I want you to do is put your arms in the air and wave them gently back and forth. And in fact, on the front row, you could be grass too, couldn't you? Yeah, great, fantastic. In fact, the whole, you can all be grass if you want. You need lots of grass. There's lots of grass in the world, isn't there? Yeah, come on. So there's a wonderful land of grass. Here it is. And because of the grass, there are grasshoppers that eat the grass. So you're the grasshoppers. So it could be tiring to be jumping for the whole length of the story. So you could just bounce up and down like this if you like. So you're the grasshoppers. And anyone else who fancies being a grasshopper, then you bounce up and down too. Okay. Because of the grasshoppers, there are spiders that eat the grasshoppers. So this is our spider group here. So what I want you to do, put your arms out the sides and you can just do that with your fingers, like little spiders. Can you do that? Yeah? Fantastic. Because of the spiders, there are mice that eat the spiders. So there's our mice. So you can pretend you've got whiskers like that, little wavy whiskers. Fantastic. And because of the mice, there is an owl, Gemma's the owl, that eats the mice. And all you need to do is just very gently. You can flap your wings every now and then. Okay. So we have grass growing in the breeze. Here, look at all that grass, wonderful grass. We have grasshoppers jumping. Give a jump, jump, jump. Brilliant. Spiders spinning. Well, that's what they're doing. Yeah, spinning. Of course, they're spinning a web. We have mice twitching. And we have owls flapping. Oh, there's some more owls now, baby owls as well. So we have a land full of life. Well, one day a farmer comes along who wants to grow food for people to eat. That would be novel, wouldn't it? So he plows up all the grass. And what happens to our grass? Where's our grass that's waving? It dies. Oh dear, the grass has died. And because the grass is dead, there is no food for the grasshoppers. What happens to the grasshoppers? They die. Can you pretend to die? And because the grasshoppers are dead, there is no food for the spiders. And what happens to the spiders? They die. Oh dear. And because the grass is dead, there's no food for the mice. What happens to the mice? They die. And because the grass is dead, there's no food for the owl. What happens to the owl? Well, it can die or fly away, whichever you prefer. Fly away, okay. Very sensible. And the farmer looks at all his crops and is sad because there's no grass waving in the breeze. There are no grasshoppers singing. There are no spiders spinning, no mice scuttling. There's no owls hooting. All the wildlife has gone. But he still needs to grow crops, but does he need to grow so much? He decides to let some of the land return to grass. So, grass. There we are. We've got grass fields again. Because the grass is back, the grasshoppers return. Where are our jumping grasshoppers? There they are. Because the grasshoppers are back, the spiders return. There are our spiders. Because the spiders are back, the mice return. There's our little mice. And because the mice are back, the owl returns. And now the farmer can look around the land and see the whole place is full of life and movement and a wonderful place for people and wildlife. And God looked at all that he had made, and behold, it was very good. Thank you very much. Well done. Right, I've got a few questions for you now. And the first question, to help us explore this story, is, what are some of your favourite creatures? Maybe I need a microphone. Is that on? Yeah, that's on. Right. What are your favourite creatures? Favourite animals or things in nature?
Owl.
Owl. Okay, fantastic. Anyone else got a favourite? Yeah.
Lion and tigers.
Wow. Yeah, and they're really loud, aren't they? Yeah. And yeah. Okay. Sophie.
Giraffe.
Giraffes. Why do you like giraffes?
Because they're spotty.
Because they're spotty. Yeah. And they've got wonderfully long necks as well, haven't they? Okay. 2 more over here.
Cats.
Cats. Okay.
Dogs.
Dogs, of course. I knew that.
Cat.
And cats for you too, right. Anyone else? Oh, yeah.
Guinea pigs.
Guinea pigs. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We've got a few more over here. Yeah.
Frogs.
Frogs, yeah.
Rabbit.
And rabbits. So there are lots of wonderful different things. What's that? Oh, haven't I? Where's your brother? Oh, no, he's okay. So there are lots of wonderful things. The thing is, we all take pleasure in nature, don't we? We live in an amazing world. As I said, we call, in that psalm, it was called God's wildly wonderful world. And do you know what? We're still finding new creatures that we've never knew existed. Scientists are out there in the jungle or various parts of the world and finding new things. And the wonderful thing is, Jesus said that God knows every single creature, and he knows them and he loves them. Right, the second question is, what do you think we learnt from that little play that we just did? Do you think it taught us anything? You can shout out if you want. Yeah. Yeah, we need to look after the world. Exactly right. Any other thoughts? I think it was showing us, wasn't it, that creatures are all dependent on each other. And just like a spider's web with all those silky strands, if you take away one of those strands, the whole web is slightly compromised. So it's like that with God's creation, that even small little things that seem inconsequent or unimportant are actually really important, and they help to support bigger things. So when the grass went, everything else died as well. The third question is, what changes can you think of that human beings are making to the world that is harming God's beautiful world? What do you think people are doing which is harming the world? Have we any ideas? Again, you can shout out if you... Oh, right, yeah. Have you got an idea?
Global warming.
Fantastic, yeah. That's what people say is the number one... Well, one of the biggest issues at the moment is global warming. Because, you know, some people live on islands that are they're not very high above the sea. And do you know what's happening? As it's getting warmer, the sea's getting higher, and some of those islands are actually disappearing. So people are losing their homes. So it's really quite sad. So are there other things you can think of that we're doing which is harming nature? Absolutely right. People throwing rubbish, because that can...
People throwing rubbish out their window.
That's right. Wherever they throw it, it can hurt nature, can't it? Anyone can think of anything else? Cutting trees down. That's definitely one. Because trees produce oxygen for us to breathe, don't they? Did you?
Everyone took the trees down.
Oh. Yeah, do you want to, Charlotte?
Cutting the grass down so the grasshoppers can't eat the grass.
That's exactly right, yeah. And some farmers sometimes let the grass grow back up, don't they? So you get butterflies and all kinds of things.
The trees knocking down people.
Yeah, you have to be careful when you cut down trees.
Flowers because they give oxygen.
Yeah, okay. Anything else?
In some parts of the world, there's a shortage of water because everyone's using
Ah, that's true, yes. There's enough water in the world, but sometimes it's in the wrong places. And some countries, like Israel, have to be very careful looking after their water. So we're going to go on to the fourth question now, actually, which is our final question. And it's, what do you think we can do as a church to care more for the world around us and our creation? What do you think we can do as a church? Anyone got any ideas? Do you want to?
Pick up rubbish.
Pick up rubbish, yeah?
Pick up rubbish.
Yes. Keep picking up rubbish, yeah? You're not sure? We can come back to you. Yeah?
Collecting money.
Collecting money and what? Giving it to organisations who look after nature, yeah?
Collecting rubbish with things you do.
That's right. And do you know, in Kirby, actually, people do litter picking, don't they, sometimes, voluntarily? Was it, I forget who it was now, was it the Women's Institute or someone? Oh, you've done that at school, fantastic, yeah.
Flowers.
Yeah, flowers?
I sometimes pick rubbish up at school.
And you pick it up at school, so fantastic. So that's...
My brother used to.
And your brother used to. Let me give you some other ideas. One idea is we could have a wildlife walk as a church, maybe go to a nature reserve, maybe turn part of the church grounds into a little wildlife area. We can pray, we can have Bible studies. The theme of this service I have used from an organisation called Arosha, and they do a lot to promote church's understanding, Christians' understanding of nature. So there are lots of things. So thank you all for your help. We're going to have a prayer now. And you're going to use your hands for this prayer. And we're going to use all the digits of your hands, starting at the little finger and working your way along. And we're going to say a little prayer for each of the fingers on our hand, okay? And we're going to end up with the thumb, that's right. So you can keep your eyes open for this prayer and you can look at your fingers as we say the prayer. So we'll start with our little finger. Dear God, as we look at our little finger, we pray for people and for creatures who are small and fragile, for things we might miss, but are still really important. Help us to remember that the people or the creatures who don't seem very important, they're really important to God. And then we look at our second finger next to the little finger, sometimes called the ring finger. And that ring reminds us of commitments and bonds and family. Help us, dear God, to commit ourselves to look after each other and to look after God. Look after each other and look after God's creation. And we look at the middle finger, the biggest finger, and we thank you for people who we look up to, people who inspire us and encourage us. And we thank you also for Jesus, and we pray that he will be at the center of our life as he inspires us by his Spirit. Then we look at the finger next to the thumb, that's the forefinger, sometimes called, the finger that you point with. And we pray for leaders in our society who try to point us in the right way. We pray for politicians. And we pray, dear God, for people with wisdom, that we will listen to them and that they will be heard. And lastly, if you waggle your thumb, the thumb helps you to grip onto things, doesn't it, and to shake someone by the hand. And so we pray that our hands will be kind hands and practical hands to help other people.